Hello, I'm Lori-Lyn. Welcome to my studio. Today I am answering a question. And the question is, how can I connect to my creative work during this pandemic? How can I, in other words, tune out everything that's happening in the world and tune in to my own creativity? That's a great question and something that I'm not sure that I'm doing very well myself. If you had told me in January of 2020, if you had said, look, you're going to have 2 or 3 months this year where you don't have to leave the house, I would have thought, I'm going to get so much done. I'm going to paint so many paintings. I'm going to write a book probably. I'm going to clean and organize my house so that it is just this shining jewel. I have all of these projects that I've kept on a back burner. I'm going to get them out and do them. It's going to feel great. But the reality of this for me so far has been that my energy is really focused. So I am working and I'm working every day. I'm inspired to work and I love my work, but I don't have a full day's worth of energy to focus toward work. I just don't. It takes me longer to get started in the morning. I need more meditation time. I need more downtime. And I have to stop working in the middle of the day, and I need extra rest time in the evening. So whether you're consciously thinking of it or not, we are all going through an enormous shift right now. The past is gone. We're all going to contribute to rebuilding a future. None of us knows what that future looks like yet, or will be like, or how we will create it. It takes an enormous amount of physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy to do what we're doing right now. There's also a lot of information, and even for someone like me, I don't watch the news, I don't read news websites, and yet I'm still taking in an enormous amount of information about what's going on in the world. We're seeing images, we're hearing stories. I mean, I do listen to what my governor is saying every day. I listen to the numbers and the planning for what we're going to do next. I see things on social media. I see people responding to what's being said and done, and it takes a lot of emotional energy to process all of that information. So I guess my point is, first of all, don't be too hard on yourself for not being able to get a lot done or engage with your creative practice or your work or anything. I told a friend recently that I basically feel like a turtle. I just feel like a turtle who's sitting inside a shell, and maybe that's just what I need to be right now. Maybe that's just what is the part of me that's conscious, that's here in the physical, is just anchoring and letting the other part of me do whatever it needs to do. And maybe that's what's happening to you too. And so I would say, first of all, just cut yourself some slack and let things be what they are, and know that you are part of a massive shift, a massive ascension, a big change. We're creating a new world. We're all a part of it. It's big and it takes a lot of energy, and it's okay if you don't feel like doing anything right now. And it's okay if you feel depressed, if you feel sad, if you feel grief, if you feel joy, whatever you feel, it's all okay. We don't really have a template for this, for what we're doing right now, and it's all okay. That having been said, you know that I do believe art heals. I believe that creative expression is how we know ourselves, how we anchor ourselves, how we commune with the divine. It's our voice. It's how we live. It's how we nourish ourselves, is through creative expression. And so in times like this, when we are doing something difficult, when we are dealing with big emotion or things are scary, this is a wonderful time to engage with creativity and to make things, and there is a wonderful medicine in that for us. So how do you do it? How do you tune out what's going on around you and tune in to yourself, really, because creativity is self-care. And the first thing that I would say, I wrote about this on Instagram today. Not very many people responded to it, which makes me think that it didn't land well, or that people, maybe it was triggering, or people didn't like it. But it's absolutely, I believe, the truth, which is that we are all one body. So when you care for yourself, you are caring for the world. When you heal within yourself, you are healing the world. When you give yourself what you need, you are giving others what they need. One leads to the other. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. It is not selfish to give yourself comfort. That is the pathway that leads you toward more compassion and more help for others. It's not one or the other. It's not either or. We're all connected. We're all mixed together because we're all one thing. So creativity and working on your work, it is self-care. Do you feel right now that there's a barrier against it, that you're actually fighting an enemy, that there's something that's coming in trying to make you not work? I mean, sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I'm pushing against a barrier. I have to force myself through that barrier. But what's on the other side of that barrier is wholeness and peace and love and joy and the answers to all my questions. So the thing for me, I would say, first of all, that works for me is ritual and routine. I've actually been writing about this. I don't know. I'm going to publish a blog post about this. I've always been a very ritualistic person. I like to do things at the same time of the day, the same way. I like those markers. But during this stay-at-home phase of life, I have found that is even more helpful to me. And so what I mean, when I'm talking about ritual, I don't necessarily mean a big formal thing. I very much miss the ritual of the liturgy of, going to church on Sunday morning. That's such a marker in my week, and I do miss that. Although I'm going to church online, it's not the same. It's good, and I'm very glad they're offering it, but it's not the same. But that's neither here nor there. The kind of ritual I'm talking about is, so every morning for me looks the same. I wake up when my dogs want to get up, which is anywhere between 5:30 in the morning and 7, sometimes 7:30 if they feel like sleeping late. They get up, it's time to get up. Get up, I take them out into the backyard. They tell me whether or not they want to have breakfast or they want to go back to sleep. They go into the living room and go to sleep, and I get my coffee, which I make the night, I set it the night before, so it's made when I get up. I get my coffee, I make my breakfast. I have even moved into eating exactly the same thing every day for breakfast, to make it even more ritualistic, I guess. And then I start my day with meditation and ease into looking at email, looking at Facebook, watching people on YouTube. I watch people on YouTube who make me feel comforted and, people I like. And then I move upstairs to begin working. I will work for a while. I have lunch every day at noon, and then I try to work more in the afternoon, which sometimes I have the energy for and sometimes I don't. We tend to eat dinner while we're watching the governor's address, which is probably not a good idea. Probably should be separating those two activities, but right now we're doing them at the same time. And, if I feel like it, I'll take an evening walk. I have some Zoom classes that meet in the evenings, and I try at least once a week to do a hot salt bath. Every night I have a ritual before I go to sleep. I write in my 5-year journal. I do my journaling mostly at night in general. I write in my 5-year journal, and I will do some form of prayer, whether it's the rosary or something else. I'll try to do a little self-Reiki treatment before I go to sleep, and that's what really, I feel like, protects me and gets me ready to go into a sleep state. And so my days are very routine bound. I mean, there are certain times when I put the laundry in, there are certain times when I do the dishes, and there are times for my creative work. There is a certain time for that. There are ways that I signal to myself that it's time to work. Lighting incense, lighting a particular candle, putting a certain type of music on, and this all tells my brain, okay, this is the time for creativity. So I would say that is, to me, that is the best way to tune in to your own voice and your own creative work, is to develop some sort of ritual around it. You might even want to create like an altar space wherever it is that you're going to make art or do your work, so that you can tune into that altar space and come into that sacredness before you begin. And I would also say to use your intuition, really check in with yourself and ask yourself, what is my priority? Like, what feels the best to me right now? So maybe what feels the best to you right now is an art journal, or even a coloring book, or a Zentangles. Maybe it's making a collage. Maybe it's writing in your journal. Maybe it's none of those things. Maybe what feels best to you right now is just like taking a walk and snapping pictures with your phone of things you see that are beautiful. Maybe this is a good time to assess, like, have I been blocked on a project because I don't really feel good about that project anymore? Am I not able to work on something because maybe I shouldn't be working on it? Maybe it's time for me to let that thing go and move into something else. Really ask yourself that guidance. If I have a limited amount of energy and focus during the day, then what's the priority? Where should I really be focusing my energy? What's the most important thing for me to work on? And you know it's the most important thing because it's the thing that lights you up. It's the thing that you feel most passionately about. It's the thing that feels easy and fun and beautiful. So that's my advice, and I should take my own advice probably. And, you know, every day is a new day, and we are learning to process this information that we're in, these times that we're in. We are becoming something new. We are becoming new as individuals, and we're becoming new as a collective, and that's big. And we are creating a new world, so let's create. Let's make art about what we want to see. You can find me at Lori-Lyn.com. Please check out my shop page if you would like to work with me. I have a lot of good deals going on right now. Some things are on sale, some things are pay what you can. If you have a question about any of that work, please get in touch with me. I would love to talk with you about it. If you have a question that you'd like for me to answer in next week's studio talk, please send that to me as well. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for being here, and I will be talking to you next week.